Welcome back to the Pocket Network Podcast, a podcast for real estate individuals like you to innovate your world. I'm your host, Margarita Petrosian, and each week I sit down with industry professionals to talk about hot topics, common challenges, and so much more. This week, I'm sitting here with Shavarsh Alajajyan. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So we found you through a mutual connection, through networking with cash investors who we love absolutely at this podcast. So you come with really high references, and we're really excited to get to know you, to get to know your business practices. And I would love to start off with your background. So how did you choose to go into real estate, since you're not only a mortgage officer, but you're also the real estate broker?
Absolutely. So I was, when I first started, I was in high school, and I got a banking job. And so from there, what happened was I met a guy who told me, have you heard about loans and things like that? I'm like, what's a loan? What's a mortgage? So he kind of told me, the money he made and stuff like that. So that got me interested. So what I did was I started putting my resumes out there, and I started off with Countrywide Home Loans back in 2004. So I got into processing. I had no background in sales or anything like that. So I started off as a processor. So I processed loans for a couple of years, and I eventually got into the sales side. So that's how I got into the mortgage loan officer position back in 2005.
Oh, that's really interesting, because I've heard a lot of people who are very successful, whether it's with investment consulting in real estate or as a mortgage loan officer, who started off with a banking background from a really young age. So for all our viewers, if you're having doubts on whether you would like to be a loan officer or a real estate broker, whatever it is, the financial side does have to be really strong. So maybe what you could start off doing is with something less commitment, like an easy bank job. Get an entry-level bank job. Let the people around you know that you're interested in loans.
Absolutely.
And then that way you have more exposure and you can make your decision. Correct?
Absolutely. Correct.
So then, so you started off with loans like that at a big bank, I'm assuming.
Yes. Countrywide Home Loans was one of the biggest mortgage banks at that time.
Okay. So then right now, are you at a big firm as well, or is it one of a more local one?
I'm with a mortgage broker right now. We work with over 160 different mortgage lenders across the country. So we are a wholesale mortgage broker licensed in about 36 states.
Okay, that's pretty large business. So why did you make that decision to go from a very, very large mortgage company to something not necessarily small, that wouldn't be accurate, but something a little more concentrated in less states?
So what I did was I went from Countrywide Home Loans was a big mortgage bank, and then what I did was from there I went to a direct lender. It was another big bank, and then from there I went into mortgage brokering. So the reason I went to mortgage brokering was because I wanted to have different products for all of my clients. So every client is going to be different. Some people are going to need creative financing. Some people are going to want the lowest rate because they have very good credit. So I want to have options for my clients. Okay,
that makes a lot of sense. So as always, very client-centered with real estate professionals, whether it be on the mortgage side or real estate agent side, and you have both. So that's really something that everyone at home should focus on. This answer, it's all about the clients, and the shift from one company to the other is again to provide the clients with a bigger variety, a bigger selection.
Absolutely.
So when you work with right now with the mortgage provider that you're with, you still do have your own personal Yelp account.
Correct.
So tell me that what you thought to do that. What's the mentality behind that?
Mentality behind Yelp?
Yeah, creating your own personal one. So not focusing, for example, a lot of people, let's say, for example, Wells Fargo. I know that they're very different because they're huge and they probably don't allow each of their bankers to have their own Yelp account. But I don't think any of their bankers would even think to do that.
I wanted to put myself out there as a mortgage professional and just provide services and the knowledge and expertise I have that's not tied to any big bank or anything like that. So I'm free to provide services that I know and I'm not controlled by. You know what I mean? So in regards to, what I've, number one, if you work for Wells Fargo or any of those big banks, you're kind of tied to what they have to provide, and you can't really be creative or out of the box thinking. But with a mortgage broker, you're free to do, everything you can within the box. Obviously, you can't do anything you want to. But so with Yelp, I want to put myself out there and provide the knowledge that I've gained over the years, and create the best value for my clients.
Yeah. And I think I wish we always have the cameras running before and after, because we get a lot of really good content before the show and after the show, just talking with the guests. And I think this definitely touches on what we were talking about before with personal branding. So I think it's genius to have your own page, because whether you leave this company or not, first of all your clients and the reviews go with you. And Absolutely. Second of all, because of personal branding, because all of that helps develop your brand to develop you into a trustworthy professional that you are.
Absolutely. 100%.
And then going back to what we were talking about again before with personal branding. So because you provide mortgage loans and you're also the real estate agent and real estate broker. So in real estate, like you said before, you are the brand. So it's very personal, the image that you're putting out there, the content that you're putting out there. But is there some sort of different strategy or approach when you market yourself to these different customers?
As of right now, I am the brand. I put myself out there as Shavarsh, and all the knowledge that I've gained over the last 15, 16 years being in the business. So I'm just me, and what I know and what I've studied for the business and everything, that came with it. I don't have two different brands. I consider myself a consultant, a real estate consultant, and a mortgage consultant. But at the end of the day, they're both, kind of married to each other. So, as a real estate professional, I'm able to speak on both sides of the business. So, as of right now, I am the brand. There's no other, marketing behind it.
And then I have a question, something that I'm kind of interested in. I don't know much about like the legal side of real estate, but is there some sort of conflict of interest when you are selling a home? Are you still allowed to be the one to process the loan?
Yes, in California, you're allowed to on certain loans. Mm-hmm. You're not allowed to do it on FHA loans,
okay.
Which is Federal Housing Administration loans, the loans that are 3.5% down that you hear about. But if you do anything else, as far as like conventional loans, you're allowed to do both sides on the same transaction. And
do you know what the mentality, the thinking behind that law is? Why is it a no on FHA? Is it just because it's federal?
I believe so. Yeah, it's government insured. I think they want to just kind of keep everything separate and, keep it all within the same, in line, and nothing, funky about it. But yeah. I believe that probably is the thing behind it, the idea.
Yeah. And for you, obviously, it's a walk in the park doing the financial side. But with other real estate agents who maybe are either very young and don't have much experience with their own financial investments, or whatever the reason that they may not be as financially literate, where do you recommend they get this information that they would need to help a client? Because with experience, that takes a lot of years. But where can they go and actively work on that right now?
On the real estate side, or are you talking about like both combined?
The real estate side.
Just real estate side?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. Both are going to be the same thing, but I would say get a coach, number one, someone that aligns with, what you're looking to do. That would be the fastest way to get to, your goal, which is just to understand the business and the market. But other than that, I would say get all the books about, what you're trying to study. Are you trying to study sales, or are you trying to study, the markets, and just read as much as you can, consume as much as you can. I mean, we're in 2022. I mean, whatever you want, you could probably find it for free out there, and just consume it like you consume food, like, water, just day in, day out, and eventually it will click. But number one, I would say get with a person and sit with them, and as much as you can, provide value to them. be coachable. That'll be the fastest way to get to the goal. But other than that, watch YouTube. I mean, there's wealth of knowledge on YouTube, and read as much as you can. That's going to be the best way. I think that's what I do.
Yeah, that's great advice. I'm sure there is a free course on YouTube for everything out there, whether it's from professional to something in your personal life that you want to accomplish, to even DIYing your entire house.
Absolutely.
So with mortgage loan officers, I'm sure, I haven't looked into their testing or their educational requirements before they complete the test. I'm sure there is a lot more financial requirements, knowledge before you actually become a mortgage loan officer. Is that correct? Or do they just decide today and go and become a loan officer? Not
really. I mean, there's no, you don't have to have a degree or anything like that. As long as you have decent credit and no criminal record, you can, apply for the test. And if you pass it, you'll get your license.
Wow. So it's that simple.
Yeah, it is that. It is very simple. Yeah.
The work is not that simple. So anyone watching out there, don't get too excited. You still have to know what you're doing to be able to be successful in that career path. But for the people who are very serious about being a mortgage loan officer, they've already passed the test. Okay, I don't know how to phrase this, but basically the end goal for most people is being successful in their investments, correct? Absolutely. And then you need a mortgage loan officer or some kind of relationship with one to be able to be successful in that. So with mortgage loan officers, what can they do to become that investment consultant? Not just to know the numbers, not just to be able to get that loan approval.
Are you saying how to become a consultant kind of thing as a loan officer?
In investments.
In investments, like real estate investments?
Yeah. Because I assume investment purchasing is different than a personal home purchase.
Yes. You're talking about like real estate investments, right?
Yeah.
Number one, you brought a good point. I mean, with loans, people think, a mortgage is just a loan to buy a house, but in reality, it's a tool. It's a tool to create wealth, right? So I think as loan officers, we should put ourselves out there as like you said, consultants, right? To how to use that tool to create wealth for ourselves, right? Just like how you use stocks, how you use other investment tools. Mortgage is a tool to create wealth for yourself. So when you're out there as a loan officer and you want to be known as a consultant, I mean, what you want to do is you want to, when you're talking to people, just don't talk to them about rates and things like that, but how to once you meet with a person, find out what their goals are and tell them about how you can use a mortgage to get to that goal. Right. So it's not just buying a house, living in there and for 10, 20 years and then selling it. It's about how to, use that tool to get to that goal. What is that goal? Maybe that's, having multiple businesses, or maybe that's creating a real estate portfolio. Like how can you use that? Because there are different programs. It's not just one program. There's millions of, different types of programs that are out there that most people don't know about, and it's not really, advertised. So as a loan officer, you want to definitely be able to talk about all that. So you're known as a consultant.
Yeah. So from someone like me who I don't have much experience with professionals in the industry with loan officers, the way I used to imagine it is loan officers don't see a client or the homeowner or buyer until the real estate agent has convinced them to purchase the home. From what I hear from people like you, that's not true, is it? Do you see these clients before they have the home that they want to buy? I
would say yes. It's starting to change with social media and everything that's going on right now. That is starting to change. Most people are realizing that they should see a loan officer first before they even look at the home. Before social media and before everything, that's how it was. They would go to a real estate agent. It still is like that right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, but it's starting to change. So they'll go to a real estate officer or a real estate agent. They would start looking at homes, and eventually that real estate agent would pass them on to a loan officer. But everyone realized that's kind of a waste of time. You go look at a home, but what if you can't qualify for it? You're wasting your own time, number one, and then you're wasting the real estate agent's time. So So right now that is starting to change as, loan officers were putting that message out there too. It's like, we're telling them, hey, you don't waste anyone's time. Like, don't waste yours. Come talk to us. Let us tell you, we will tell you what's your maximum, what's, what you can and can't do. And then from there, go talk to a real estate agent, and the real estate agents are saying the same thing. So people are getting the message. But it used to be like that, where most people would go to a real estate agent and then get passed on to a loan officer.
And once, just for a typical buyer, not necessarily someone who's looking to invest and just focus on the numbers, but let's say a young family or someone who's going to use their entire life savings in one property. I see how if they are convinced in buying this home, they're in love with this property, it's everything they looked for. If they come, no matter how smart the loan officer is sounding, talking about how you can invest your money otherwise, it would be a little bit difficult to convince them to not make that big investment and maybe invest in a few units. So I do like this trend of talking to the loan officer first, so that you're educated in what your options are before you emotionally get involved in this house, this dream of the future, what your future could look like living and raising your family in that home.
Absolutely. I mean, talking to a loan officer, again, we're seen as salespeople, but in reality, we're more of like, just like an investment banker. You go to an investment banker and you talk to them about all kinds of different investments. Loan officers are just like that, because if you have $100,000 to invest into real estate, but you have goals of buying maybe 2 more properties in the next 2 or 3 years, like, you should say all that. You should tell the loan officer all that. And the loan officer should go into your goals, find out what your goals are, so we can kind of strategize so you can get to your goals sooner than later. Because if the loan officer doesn't give you all the different programs and you have only $100,000 and you're going to, that's your life savings, you're going to put it into one house, then to get to purchase another 2 properties in the next 2 or 3 years, that's going to be tough. It took you their whole life to save $100,000. So, loan officers should do their job by being consultants, and people that go to loan officers should share their goals and tell them, what they're trying to accomplish. And hopefully, the loan officer will do their job and write out a game plan.
Yeah. And for any real estate agents out there watching, I can't stress the importance of having a solid relationship with a loan officer, because some of these things that Shavarsh is saying on the podcast right now, I'm sure you never knew if you didn't have the experience, or if you're very focused on just purchasing for families who aren't looking to invest. Maybe you never had to think about it. You never had to go out there and get these additional resources. I was at a networking event recently, and we had a mortgage loan officer there who was talking about investing in a $900,000 commercial property. And when you think about that, in California, for those of us living in California, $900,000 could be a condo nowadays. It's a very small family home. So if you can afford that small family home, and then you have this mortgage loan officer who has the experience to be able to advise you, well, maybe wait a couple more years to move into a dream home, or to just have a home of your own. And instead of that, invest in this retail property, this commercial property. And this is how much money you'll be making in the next X amount of years. Now imagine if, as a real estate agent, you have this knowledge, and not just that, you're able to communicate that by learning from these loan officers. How many more clients are going to be referred to you in the future? Imagine if someone that would have never imagined they could even be an investment, a person who invests in properties, they're doing it. They're probably going to go shout from the rooftops, let their entire family know that go to this person, go to Shavarsh. He knows the entire layout, the blueprint, the plans. You just give him your finances and work with this agent and this mortgage loan officer. So now all of a sudden you have this networking opportunity, these referrals, and your business will grow with it.
Absolutely.
It's only up from there. The more knowledge you have, the more successful you will be, not just your clients.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Yeah. So there's a huge difference between mortgage loan officers and then, like you're saying nowadays, these mortgage consultants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Financial consultants, not just mortgage consultants. Because I'm sure you're not just doing residential. I think you don't have to have like a commercial loan license on the side, do you?
No. As a loan officer, if you're licensed through the state, then you can do commercial loans as well.
Yeah.
Alongside of residential.
So the networking opportunities are endless.
Absolutely.
Commercial agents, residential agents. So where do you go if you'd like to network and find new agents to work with?
I mean, the easiest way is through social media. I mean, you could do that, 24/7. But, I try to see, I go to like Meetup. I look at real estate, Facebook groups and Facebook events, and see what's happening in town and just, go to those events. But the easiest way to network, again, it's just direct message. I mean, that's going to be the best way, easiest way. You don't have to, get in your car and, this day and age, that's probably the easiest thing to do is to network.
Especially after we experienced a pandemic, how much easier to do it, we realized is it to do everything online than have to go in person. And for anyone that's new, get that rejection in person. That kind of sucks in the beginning of your career. And that was also the mentality behind the Pocket Network. If I can just plug that in right here, but that's what we were thinking. And we were thinking, sure, Instagram is amazing. Facebook is amazing. Results, the opportunities there are endless. But if you can have a platform like the pocketnetwork.com, where now it's not just random people on the social media website, it's just real estate professionals. Now every single person that you message, you actually do have a chance of being able to do business with them. So now with that, the opportunities, I think, just increase tenfold. Because every person on that website is a professional that you can work with, that you can refer clients to, or clients could be referred your way. And whenever you post on Facebook, when you post an event, there's a ton of people seeing it. There's me seeing it, and I'm not a real estate agent. But then on the pocketnetwork.com, it's all the professionals seeing it. So then you have more people coming in, more people responding, and good quality leads.
Perfect.
And then so with these networking opportunities, once you do meet these people, how do you nurture these professional relationships when it's not the consumer directly, when it's the real estate agent? How do you market? Well, not necessarily market, but just keep these solid relationships with them in the future after making that first contact with them?
I mean, me personally, I try to be a person of value as much as I can. I've been in the business 16, 17 years. So there's a lot I've seen. I've been through multiple downturns, I like marketing. Besides the real estate mortgage side, I also like to do marketing and study that side of the business. So what I do, the best way I could, nurture relationships is just share what I know, how to do things. It's abundance mindset. So just give, tell them, what are the new apps that are working, for example, and just give, right? So most people, especially people that are just new in the business, they just want to know how to do things. Just giving that value, just giving that information, that free information without expecting anything in return. That's the best way to nurture, in my opinion. Other than whining and dining, that's the whole different thing. Of course, people that you want to do business with, you want to, obviously go out and, have a good time and do things that you have, that you both enjoy. But other than that, is just me personally providing value, telling them about the market. Maybe they're not up to date with what's going on in the market. I stay on the market every day. So I just share information, give value, and people just like that, that's the way I nurture, personally.
Yeah. In any type of marketing class, the number one piece of advice that you can get for any type of marketing is quality content. Yeah. So what you're sending them, you need to make sure that they want to see that information. So for a loan officer, if that's an update on the market, anything to educate the person that's receiving the message, they're just more likely to open that email to continue viewing the text that they receive from you. So that's perfect advice for anyone out there. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, as a real estate agent, the number one thing you want to do is get more clients, and not only that, but how do you get those clients into homes? And so, if there's any new programs with, especially first-time buyers, most of the time, first-time buyers, they want to buy, they have the income, but they may not have the down payment, especially in LA. So, telling them the new programs with low down payment, no down payment programs, just giving that value. I mean, real estate agents are not, in the mortgage side, so they don't know exactly what's going on. The mortgage side can be complicated when it comes to programs and things like that. So as a loan officer, you go out there and you tell agents, how they can get those people into homes. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal, because, if they don't know, they don't know, and they're not going to talk about it. They're going to think, 20% is what you need to purchase a home, which is not true. You can buy a home with no down payment these days, 3%, 5%. So just sharing that knowledge and making it easier for those real estate agents to get their clients into homes. I think that's great value, and they'll like you.
Yeah. There's just so many resources out there now, and although that can be a great thing, that's also very overwhelming, especially if you don't understand the language yet in the industry, or if you're very new in the industry, or if you're very young and you don't know much about anything out there. You don't know much about buying a home. You don't know much about loans or money in general. It can be very overwhelming, and
Absolutely.
People get burnt out really quickly. So to have a resource like you to be able to get those bits and pieces of information and digest it for the person and literally spoon feed it to them to tell them exactly what this means and what you should tell your client about this. That's, I think, a really huge resource that people should be taking advantage of. So find loan officers that are local and be their friend on social media. Subscribe to their emails, and every single resource that they send you, I'm sure they wouldn't mind you sharing that with your clients so that people can contact you, and then you both get business that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just go out there. If you're looking to purchase a home, find a loan officer and just, ask any question you want. Like you said, the mortgage side is a little more complicated, especially when it comes to numbers. A lot of people, don't like numbers. So just, dealing with numbers, it puts a fear into themselves. So, and that fear can stop them from, accomplishing their goals. So, like you say, as a loan officer, the best thing to do is to really digest it and just, and communicate that information in a very simple way so anybody can understand.
Yeah, exactly. And then I know with you it's different because you also sell homes, but this question is more for people who are just loan officers. They cannot sell real estate. Do loan officers typically market only to real estate professionals, or do they market to the public too? So people can choose them as a loan officer no matter what agent they choose on the side.
So you're saying as a loan officer, do most loan officers market to real estate agents?
Yeah. Or do you market to real estate agents, or do you also market to the public, the people buying the home?
Most people, most loan officers will market to real estate agents. Okay. So that's kind of like, what, we're taught when we get into the business is the number one source is the real estate agent. And which is absolutely correct. I mean, real estate agents, once you have a good real estate relationship with real estate agents, that's going to be the easiest way to get business. I'm a little bit different. I look at things a little bit differently. I love all real estate agents. I have nothing bad to say about them or anything like that. But I just, with all the tools that I have with the market, in 2022, me personally, I talk to people all day long, every day about loans. So I market to real estate agents, but I'm a real estate agent myself as well. So me personally, I look at anyone as a person that can refer me business. Yeah. It's all about relationships. We're in the relationship business. So we're the vehicle is mortgage, the vehicle is real estate, but we're in the relationship business. If you build relationships and people know, like, and trust you, you're going to get referrals all day long. So, but as a new loan officer, I would say definitely go after real estate agents and put your name out there and create, that flow of business. But there's other ways to get business as well. There's financial advisors, accountants, social media. I mean, it's, tons of leads. But yeah, there's different ways. I mean, not everyone's gonna be great at getting business from real estate agents. There's sometimes it's just not. It doesn't fit your personality, and loan officers think, oh, that's the only way. And, if that doesn't happen, then I'm, kind of not going to make it, not going to be successful, but it's not true. I mean, you can get business, especially now in 2022, you can get business in many, many different ways. Yeah.
Yeah. Just with social media marketing or any type of digital marketing, it's much cheaper than print marketing. It's much cheaper than spending hours calling people or going home to home, when you account for how much time that takes you. So if you pay, I think the pay for click marketing, you could do literally like 25 cents per lead, much less than that even, depending on what type of digital marketing you choose. And you can end up spending less than $100 a month on that type of marketing and get at least one lead per month, which I think is worth it.
Absolutely. And treat that lead well, and treat that lead with respect, and and that lead will send you a lot more leads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just all about treating people well, and you'll be successful.
Yeah, referrals are big in the business.
Referrals, absolutely.
Word of mouth referrals, everything from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, absolutely. Just, referrals are one of those things where you just ask anyone for a referral, and you should, most people, especially your past clients, 75% will refer you a lead. They're ready to refer. You just have to ask.
Yeah. For in my own personal family, when someone's ready to buy a home, they go to someone in the family that's already done it and said, which agent did you go to? Which, designer, whatever else it is that they need. And what was your experience with them? So they can decide if they should go to the same person. Because if you had a great experience, why should I spend hours researching 1,000 people who might have fake information about them on social media? Yeah. So word of mouth referrals, huge. Be nice to everyone, even if you're not going to be working with them today. Absolutely.
You never know.
Yeah. So for marketing, I don't know if mortgage loan officers, if your brokerage, do they give you marketing material? Is that an option? Is that something that you can add on with your fees? Do you even pay fees? I don't know.
So, being a mortgage broker, why I like being a mortgage broker is, like I said, you're free to do kind of everything you can within the law, right? So, you can do all kinds of marketing, all kinds of things. So, as far as fees, I'm a mortgage broker, but it's not my company. So there are splits that I share, split with the company. But as far as marketing goes, if you want to do any kind of marketing, if you want to pay for postcards, ads, it's out of your pocket. You have to pay for it.
And they make all of this for you? Like they have templates, they provide you with it, or you just have to do it all up by yourself?
There's both. You could do yourself, or you can use the company to do it for you. So, it depends. If you like their style, and if you like how they do things, you go with them. If you have your own person that you have a relationship with, and they know your marketing style, and you don't have to explain to your company every time, like, this is how I want it. Because some people have their specific marketing thing, right? So if you have a relationship with a marketing company, you just go with them.
I imagine if you go with your company, their own branding will always somehow seep into your marketing. And if you ever leave that company, all of a sudden what you're putting out there will change, and it won't be consistent for the clients receiving your postcards or whatever else it is, your emails. So it's probably, correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably better to always keep your marketing internal and not do too much with your company's material.
Depends. So if you work for a bank, if you work for one of the big banks, you're locked in. Like you can't do anything. You can't do anything. If you're with a direct lender, most likely you're locked in to their marketing. You can get creative, but it's, they don't want to, change their branding on their papers. But if you're a mortgage broker, it's a little bit different. You still have to, show you the company license number and their logo and everything, but you can still do your own marketing. So you can say like Shavarsh's team powered by, let's say, the mortgage company, or, but you can make it seem like it's your branding. So
that makes sense.
You know what I mean? So
so it depends on with your contract with the company.
Absolutely. It just is more of like I don't know. I haven't worked for a lot of mortgage brokers, but the mortgage broker that I work for, we're open to doing our own marketing, but we still have to, have their marketing as well on the papers, which is, you have flexibility to do.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. I have another question specific to the company you're working with right now. Have you been with them for a while yet?
Going on 3 years.
3 years? Okay. So have you noticed, did they do something to, like, with their organizational change to react to COVID? Like what did they do to ensure that business keeps doing well?
Well, as far as like, you mean like with technology or?
With anything. How did they react to COVID? And what would they do if the same thing happens again? How are they ready to react?
Well, most of, we're a national company, but we're mostly remote. Okay. So before COVID, we were remote.
Okay. So you guys were prepared.
We were prepared. So,
Okay.
everyone was working from home. If you have an office, like most people have offices, but, a lot of people work from home, even real estate agents, like, as independent contractors, we there's home offices. So COVID didn't really affect much. It was mostly the home office, like corporate, did their thing and they, worked from home, but it didn't really affect us. COVID didn't really affect us.
The reason I asked that question is just because it's very interesting to me what large organizations do with organizational change and development, how they react to COVID, because I feel like we can learn something and apply it to our own personal little businesses, to whether you're just a real estate agent working by yourself or whether you also have like a bigger company. Maybe you have a clothing company with 5 locations, whatever it is. But if you look at these successful companies, whether it's handling big money like mortgage, or even if you look at Nike, what did they do to change their business practices and how can you replicate that in your own company? I feel like that would definitely give you a leg up, whether it's to prepare for another pandemic or just to prepare for any type of difficulty that your company faces. What's another way to make more money?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a loan officer and a real estate agent, we're always out in the field anyway. So we're always, working from anywhere.
Yeah.
That's how we've been. We could work from Starbucks. We could work from the gym, whatever,
Yeah. You guys got lucky.
Yeah, we got lucky, and we were pretty busy during those times because rates were all-time low. So, thank God.
Rates were all-time low. And with people, I think a lot of people were trying to refinance because some people were afraid if they lose their job or whatever it was. So you guys never had a moment to breathe during that time.
Absolutely.
So it's a good thing you guys were well adjusted and didn't have to do too much to change.
Absolutely. It was mostly the, mortgage brokers are a little bit different, but like direct lenders, big direct lenders who have big corporate offices, I'm sure they started working from home. I mean, there's no other choice.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people were starting to see the benefits of that because with companies that have been working from home before COVID, they do see an increase in productivity. They do see an increase in the amount of money that they're making. So there has to be some correlation to that. With most people that I know, that's because when we work from home, we overdo it to prove to our bosses we're not slacking off. So that could be the case. It could be just because your employees are not stressed out driving in this traffic, wherever they may be driving from, commuting from. So probably many reasons. But for any young professionals that are thinking to become a mortgage loan officer, before even taking the test, the most important question that everyone asks is this right for me? Is there any way that you can give them advice? How do you know if it's right for you? Is there a quality you should have? Is there something you should be prepared for?
As a loan officer, number one thing, don't do it for the money. The money is great. Sky's the limit. But don't do it for the money, because once you start making money and you're, 5-10 years into it, it could get old, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about 10 years. Maybe in the first 3, 4, 5 years, you start making money and that could get old. Like, you were wanting to make $20,000, $30,000 a month and now you're making it and, it's old news, right? So you want to make more. So, you want to do it you want to do it for a purpose. Like, what's your goal? What do you want to do? Loan officer, other than the money, why are you getting into this industry, right? Is it because you like finance? Is it because you like to, help people create wealth? Is it, just educating people on money? Like, what is the goal? Do it for that. And then, find, number one, see who you are first. Study yourself. And see, if it's something you want to do as far as the what do you call it? So basically, you asked about how to get started. As far as
how do you know that this is the right path for you?
Okay, so how do you know if this is the right path for you? So, number one, you got to know if you are a people person, right? So, if you're not a people person, we're in the relationship business. If you don't like to talk to people and you don't like to do anything, you're gonna show that eventually, right? And people like to do people that they like. So if you're not really likable, let's say you know your numbers, but you're not really likable, you'll still be successful, but you might not get to your goals. So, you want to definitely know what the business is all about. What does it take to become a successful loan officer? Working with all kinds of different personalities. You have to know the highs and lows of the business because it's very volatile. There's years you're doing really good, and then there's years that you're like scratching your head, like what's going on. So definitely study the business. Number one, study relationships, study, communication, how to communicate with different personalities. And then from there, find out what you really want to do. I mean, other than making money and having a great life, that will come with it. But first you want to provide value, and how are you going to provide value? How are you, going to, be different than everyone else that's just selling, let's say, a mortgage rate or, a program? Like, be different, and how are you going to be different? So people come to you not because, you have the lowest rate or you have a crazy good program, but because they want to get educated. They want to know, okay, how do I get ahead in life? Be that person.
So do you think, or not do you think, because the answer is probably yes and no, but would you recommend someone that's, let's say in high school, straight out of high school, comes to you and says, I would like to do this. Should I just straight out of high school, go get my license, become a mortgage loan officer? Or do you recommend they have some sort of other job experience in the beginning?
Having a finance, high school is going to be a little bit tough, but, if you can start off at a bank, like the route I took was I started off at a bank. I was a teller. So I started, dealing with customers, right? I started, having good customers and not so good customers. So I had an experience how to deal with customers. I was at Bank of America. So, they were big on customer service. So that's number one. Like you have to have customer service. This is a customer service business, but other than that, I started dealing with money. So I started, learning about different products and stuff like that. So that helped me. That background in banking helped me. And then from there, once I became a loan officer, I started at a call center. So I had no experience. So that call center opportunity gave me the experience of talking to 15, 20 people a day about loans. So, I put in my hours, like I put in, how they say, you have to put yourself, you have to do 10,000 hours of, something to become an expert at it. So I put in a lot of hours. I put in, 10, 12 hours a day, and I spoke to 10, 12 people a day, on loans. So that gave me a jump start. So that's the route I took. You don't have to do the banking thing, but, if you're in high school, if you want to become a loan officer, get into a call center. That's probably the best way to do it. It's not the only way to do it, but I would recommend it because you're talking about rate, programs, customers, like day in, day out, all the time, versus if you go on your own, you might talk to one customer every 3 days, right? Yeah. So that's going to take you a lot more time to make your mistakes and learn from it. But the other way is, if you don't want to do the call center thing, then, you have to hire a coach. You go with someone that's going to, help you, give you the time and train you and coach you, so you can learn, because sometimes I hear there are coaches that are not very available, or they're not, they say, oh, here, I'll teach you, but they're not available to answer those questions, especially those critical times when you have a customer on the phone. So you want to make sure the coach is going to be there for you. But I personally, what I tell people that are trying to get into the business, I say, go work at a call center for 1, 2, 3 years, or somewhere that's high volume. Right. Even at the bank, I used to work at a bank that was high volume. I used to get walking clients. Yeah. So you go somewhere where you get volume, so you can, just, put in the hours, that you need in the beginning, because you're learning something new.
Yeah. And at least you'll be getting paid while you're learning. Meanwhile, Absolutely. If you get your license straight out of high school and you work for a small brokerage, you might not make money for a year, 2 years. It's frustrating, and it's not that easy to learn. If you're not like financially or mathematically gifted, then it would be hard to pick up. But if you're at the bank, you're getting paid while you slowly get to learn, and you make really good connections, most importantly, especially if you can get some sort of promotion to work as a small business banker or something where you are face to face with business owners. Then you're developing with relationships with people who can afford to buy homes in the future. Absolutely. And you keep nurturing those relationships. You remember facts about them. And then next thing you know, in a couple of years, when you're ready to be their loan servicer, they're more likely to trust your company and trust you to do the work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, loan officer, most people don't know this, but, not that they don't know it. They just, no one really tells you what a loan officer does during day to day. There's a lot that goes on behind, in the office, So as a loan officer, what you want to do is, you want to study the guidelines. There's a lot of guidelines. There's a lot of different things, right? You have to know credit scores, income ratios, all that stuff. So you want to make sure you put in the time in the beginning of your career to learn all that. Because if you don't have the foundation, that strong foundation, and you get into the business and you just, talk about rates and how much your payment is going to be, when you go out there and talk to people about mortgages, they're going to talk to you. They're going to share their goals and everything. But when you know the ins and outs of the program, what's working, what's not working now, how to do certain things with, let's say, making it easier to qualify. For example, if you know those types of minor details, then you're just going to get further faster, right? So there's a lot that goes on into getting a loan. It's not just providing an application, providing your pay stubs, and that's it. I mean, there's a lot more than that. And
the more you know in the beginning, the less likely you will make a mistake in the beginning of the career that could possibly, unfortunately, end your career from the start, because now you're known as the person who wasn't trustworthy or who didn't know the facts. So people don't want to work with you the way they would want to work with someone who came into that meeting well prepared, who came in and didn't lie to them, who came in and didn't misrepresent the program that they're pitching to you. So whatever the reason may be, but your client can usually tell. And also, realistically, with such a huge investment, even if it's not a person who's investing in large properties or commercial properties, even if it's just a small family coming in, this is a huge decision for them. They've probably done all the research. They probably know at least half as much as you do with people that are coming in prepared. So if they know more than you do, that is a big red light. Stop what you're doing, go back home and open some books.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's the more you know, the better. It's never ending. This is one of the industries that it always changes. Yeah. It always changes because markets change. Right now market's changing right now, right? Exactly. So things are going to change. Guidelines are going to change. Programs are going to change. So you always want to stay on top of it. It's not one of those things where you learn it once and it's done. Yeah. It's like the IT bit industry. It's always changing. You always got to stay on top of it.
And if you're a mortgage loan officer who doesn't know how to keep up with these changes, you should be following Shavarsh. You should be following your local loan officers, whether you're in another city or if you're in another state that has different guidelines, and share their content. You can stitch it on social media now. You can have his face playing on the side and you just nodding, and share that to your customers. That also shows that you understand what he's saying. You understand this change, and you can help them apply this to your own business. So it's really, you don't even have to make your own content nowadays. You could just share someone else's.
Absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. It was a pleasure getting to know you, to meet you. And for everyone at home, if you'd like to contact Shavarsh, if you have any questions for him, we'll put all of his social media. We'll link it down below. And as always, you can reach out to everyone on the Pocket Network. We would love to hear your feedback about this episode and about what else you want to see in the future. And just remember, everything you learned today, apply it, because change begins at home.